Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, my name's Claire. I'm going to be talking you through how I made this card today with some simple stamping techniques. I used the main die in the centre here, which is one of Sue Wilson's craft dies by Creative Expressions. It's from her Perspectives collection. And I've used the main die, the biggest die from this, that says happy. The collection also has many other words that you can die cut to complete the sentiment. So we've got happy birthday, happy anniversary, birthday wishes, etc. And you can see the other dies there, and some wonderful frames that are actually really useful. But I should be using the big die today. So what you need to do, you need to find all your sentiments that you have in various stamp sets, stamp kits that you've had in your stash for a little while. It allows you to draw on all of those and use them all up. You need to get out your stamp blocks and your black stamping ink, your favourite black stamping ink. To start with, I cut a C6 piece of card stock, so that's 10.5 centimetres by 14.5. I wouldn't worry too much about the measurements because this style of stamping actually works on any size card, so long as the die that you're going to use fits across the centre, of course. So I should be stamping randomly all over this piece of card, but what I just want to do is just mark when I come to it where I'm going to die cut this word from, just so as I can get one of these sentiments placed nicely in there so we've got the full happy birthday sentiment. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to mark on the inside of the apertures here, just where I'm going to place the die a bit later on my die cutting machine. Just a couple of marks there, I don't know if you can see them, the pencil marks, that's it. So I've selected various sentiments from different stamp sets that I have here. You see I've actually quite a few, so there's all different style fonts, different types of words, depending on the type of card you'll be making, so you can choose which is most suitable. So I'm going for the happy birthday stamp, so I've pulled my sentiments from these sets today. I've mounted them up on the stamp blocks already, and I have here, you can see I have 6 sentiments, all different styles, different shapes, so they all mix and match nicely together. As I said, I wanted to have one sentiment that sits fully within the card, so I'm going to use this standard font, and I'm today using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I find that this stamps really well. I get a nice clean crisp impression and a nice properly black impression as well. Again, it's personal choice, but I find that this is the best black ink that I use. So to start with, I'm just going to stamp that sentiment there, and I know that that one is going to be clear of the die cutting. So now I can just start working around the rest of my piece and stamping just directly. And what I can do, as I say, mix and match the styles and the direction, and we just fill in the page. So there's no rules to this. And it's just nice simple stamping as we go. I'm just going to bring in a piece of copy paper, scrap paper, so that when I stamp over the edge, I'm not going to mark my table, but that isn't an important thing to say. You don't need to stay within the confines of the page that you're stamping on. Stamp across the edge, and you can see there it just gives a nice random feel, and it just helps you to fill in the page. The more different type of fonts you can collect to stamp with, then the more interesting then your page will look. You can of course try stamping with colour, either as a monotone, or you can try mixing your colours. Again, it all depends on the type of card and the person who you're giving it to. So it's always nice to match a person's favourite colour, or colours and different styles. So you can see here we're just continuing to stamp. Try not to put the same style of stamp next to each other, if you can possibly help it. Not that it really matters, it's just gives you a nice pattern if you're able to mix and match across. What would be a nice idea as well, perhaps, if you have just a few little tiny spaces to fill, if you have any tiny little icon stamps, maybe a little flower or a little star, and you feel like you want to fill in little gaps here and there, maybe that would work quite well as well. You see some of the stamping, I'm actually stamping vertically, so you'd have to turn the card on the side to read that, but it just gives, I say, a little bit more interest in stamping off the page as well. You see, the perfect thing about doing this sort of style also is that you'll never stamp the same one twice. This one is going to look very different to the one I showed you at the beginning. That's what I like about stamping. Okay, so now that's done, I'm just going to die cut the word from the centre there. Okay, so we've die cut this now. I'll just remove the sticky tape. And if we remove this carefully from the die, we're not actually going to use the die cut piece, we're going to be using the aperture that it leaves behind, which means that you can of course take this part of the die cut out and use this on another card, and that's already been decorated for you because you've obviously stamped it. That in itself would look great, quite stylish on a piece of black or a coordinating piece of cardstock. So always keep these parts that you're not using. Now we'll go back to this piece, and you can see there that the whole card comes to life when it's put up against the black, or put against the black background. Okay, so I'm going to mount this straight onto a piece of white cardstock to give us the card blank. I think these are a great idea for guys' cards, because there's nothing too fancy about them, nothing too floral. And when equally you can You can add a flower, as I say, to mix it up a little bit, just to fill in if you've found that some of the words and the sentiments that you have yourself don't actually fit together as well, and there's a few little gaps. So I need to try and unclog this glue. As I say, dig out your sentiment stamp sets, or even the little sentiments that come as part of an image set. There's always little stamps and little fill-in stamps that you have, and sometimes you may not know or how to use them, or you might wonder how to use them. This is an ideal opportunity to do that. Instead of using sentiments, perhaps you can use images, but stamping in the one colour all over the background is really quite effective. There we are. A nice simple way to use a die cut aperture. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.